And welcome to another edition of the Sartorial and Geek podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance, coming back one more time. And let's jump right into the download. Now, this week's download is actually a game that I'm putting out there only because of the price, because that is what enticed me to play this game. And I thought the game was one thing and it turned out to be something else. And let's talk about it. This week's download is Dead Island Retro Revenge. So I initially saw this game about a couple of days ago, and it looks like an old school beat 'em up in the vein of Streets of Rage, things of that nature, Turtles, but set in the Dead Island universe. And it looked really awesome. And at the time of this recording, on Xbox is currently on sale for just 99 cents. And I thought that is an amazing deal. It's typically $5, or with the Dead Island Platinum Edition, whatever it's called. And this is the original Dead Island. So we're talking about this game came out in 2016. It is, not a bad price. So 99 cents, I downloaded it. I was woefully disappointed with this game. And I'm only suggesting for you to take a look at it simply because if you're on Xbox, the price right now is 99 cents, and it may be worth your 99 cents. But essentially, it is an endless runner disguised as a beat 'em up. And I really detest the endless runners, personally speaking. And since it's side scrolling instead of front facing, that sort of third person behind the shoulder view, like a Sonic Endless Runner or a Temple Run or whatever, it is very hard to judge where obstacles are in your path so that you don't run over them by accident. In addition, you're fighting zombies along the way, which at its core sounds like an interesting premise on the Endless Runner sort of deal. But it just makes it that much difficult because you never know when you're running into something. You never know if the zombie's on the same plane as you to fight. Sometimes you go to the zombie and you're not on the same plane, but it ends up biting you anyway. Or barricades you're running into them and you can't even tell that you're in the same path as the barricade. It is quite frustrating. If I'd have paid the $5 for it, I really would have been pissed off. But at 99 cents, I can't complain that much. All I can say is I am greatly disappointed, but I am recommending it, or I should say I'm putting it out there simply because there may be people out there listening to this that are very much interested in endless runners, and the prospect of an endless runner beat 'em up where you fight different zombies sounds absolutely amazing. Like I said, on paper it does sound kind of amazing. However, it is an execution that I thought was just woefully botched. From the gameplay, I do like the different types of zombies. That's really cool. They have different effects, different things that happen to them. I love the animation of the game. The 2D animation is really cool and really fun. So that is my take on Dead Island Retro Revenge. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Game Bites is up on it, both on Webster Style and Nerds Rule the World YouTube channels at the moment. So if you want to see my face as I'm playing this, be sure to check it out there. Now, speaking of, well, not quite zombies, but we're going more to the beauty aspect. I had a chance to sit down a few months ago with Queen Rose. Queen Rose is literally one of the first content creators I started interacting with when I got on TikTok about a year ago or so. And she's just really cool, really awesome person. I got a chance to really talk, pick her brain, learn about her acting, her dancing, especially being a larger woman in burlesque, and what that entails and how that really gives her the sort of empowerment that she's looking for in her life. So let's check out the interview with Queen Rose. Queen Rogue is somebody totally different who I love to interview one day. But let's get into our conversation with Queen Rose. Fashionista, burlesque dancer herself, Queen Rose. Queen Rose, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, thank you. It is It is almost the weekend, and I have a show coming up actually this Saturday, so I'm really excited for that. And thank you for having me on. This is so great. I was very excited when you reached out to me to do the interview, because we've been talking for a little bit, and this is our first time actually having like a voice-to-voice conversation.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes. I wanted to reach out to you because one of the reasons for these interviews is that I like to highlight different types of people. I like to talk to different types of people. I learn things, and hopefully your audience learns things as well with regards to people's careers, people's style. Like I've done adult stars, style gurus, comic creators, just really to learn more about them, more about why they do what they do, and learn more about who they are. So I'm going to ask you, well, I'm going to preface this by saying one of the things that I've noticed about you, at least your online presence, particularly with you being a burlesque dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things the burlesque dance isn't a part of it, but it seems like it's more of an extension of the point I'm trying to make, my perception.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you're so comfortable in who you are.
Yeah, thank you.
That is something that is from, as a engagement point of view, content consumption, that is very refreshing and something that, I guess in many respects brings people a lot of joy. What was your journey like, really becoming comfortable in your own skin?
Yeah, so honestly, I think burlesque was a huge catalyst for that. I will back up a little bit before my burlesque journey, just to give you a background, because when I first started doing burlesque, I remember when I had my premiere act, which was, I was Poison Ivy, and that was last year, I want to say April. I had graduated from the New York School of Burlesque. I was also producing a variety show, a local variety show, where I also performed that same weekend. So I had like a double show. And prior to that, I was in a choir for many years. I have done like musical theater. I do have a community theater group that I was very active in, not at the moment, but still have a lot of friends, that have transitioned over to drag and other communities that I'm also are an extension of where I'm at. And I think that burlesque came really easy to me because I had that stage background. I'd been on stage since I don't know. I would say my first time on stage was maybe when I was like 5 or 6. I did ballet and tap, and then funny story, which I just kind of healed through because of a really lovely performance that was kind of life-changing for me a few months ago. Chartreuse, who is a lovely burlesque performer and has been in the industry for a few years, does this show called Fat Tuesdays. And she had a show, they had a show that was in a gallery. It was, featuring a bunch of nightlife performers, which was also incredible. And very much community. And the reason I bring that up is because it was super cathartic, because I actually quit ballet and tap as a child because I was picked on. So I was picked on, surprisingly not by my peers, but by an adult, which is which is really tough. And I think that after doing that show that they produced, and I was so blessed to be part of, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing something that I was told I wouldn't be able to do, and here I am doing it. And there are people that are so supportive of me, and feeling blessed to see me on stage and embracing me and loving me for who I am. And that was so healing, and I'm so grateful for Chartreuse for creating that space for fat positivity. And I think that healing that part of myself was a big thing, and that was very recent. That performance is a few months ago, but burlesque has definitely helped me tap into that confidence immensely, and fashion. But I feel like there's also an intersectionality between that as well. So
yeah, I think that's a beautiful story. And one of the things that I've had the fortune of interviewing a lot of different, in this case, ladies, and asking about that body positivity, about being comfortable in your own skin, but also with where we are now, and how conversations are with being healthy. What's a healthy body? What's a beautiful body? We are seeing shifting conversations about that. And I guess wanted to know, how has that impacted, I guess, maybe the outside, as far as like the reception of, Fat Tuesdays, or, just anybody doing burlesque, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that I've been very blessed, with the producers that I've worked in. They've been a lot more supportive of different bodies, and also different identities. I identify as non-binary. And that's something that is newer for me. I would say I would lean more towards like gender fluidity. But I feel like a lot of the spaces that you think of with burlesque, people think of like a really thin, white blonde woman. Not anyone that has a body like mine. I'm mixed, like there's a lot of other factors that, come into play with that. But also, I'm blessed that I mostly perform in Brooklyn. And I will say that the scene in Brooklyn is not like anything I've ever witnessed, not only as a performer, but as a patron, because not only do I love performing in shows, but I love supporting my friends in shows. And it's not just about like, oh, we're creating a space for these folks, but it's also like, I love these people. Like I'm here, loving these bodies and the variations and the differences. And I think that's really beautiful. And that's also made me feel really safe to be vulnerable on stage. And there is a vulnerability to burlesque. And, I will also tell people my first time seeing a live burlesque show was actually in Nyack, which is, for people that are not familiar, it's a little above Westchester. Not, I would say upstate. For New Yorkers, anything above the Bronx, people consider upstate. Okay. So we're like, if it's above the Bronx, it's upstate. But I also have friends in Westchester, and I spent a lot of time out there, and I went to a show, and to see like different types of bodies, to see different representations, not only in body representation and gender identities and queerness, but also in regards to acts, which, they had some acts where a person did not take any of their clothing off. They just revealed parts of their clothing. Some folks just wore, very revealing clothing and just worked with fans, and that was their act, and they didn't, and then you had someone that was doing like a glove peel, and it was very classic burlesque. And I was really fortunate to be like, whoa, this is my first show, and I am seeing quite an array. And I remember taking the train back to Brooklyn, and I got off on Grand Central and this like warm feeling like washed over me as I was standing in Grand Central, and it was kind of like something had clicked. Almost like I would describe, like my heart felt really full, and I said, this is the first time in a long time I feel so excited to really do something, and it felt like something that I had just fallen in love with.
Right.
And it's just, you know, and I was scared because I wasn't sure how the community would receive me. I wasn't sure if I would be embraced for who I am, and you know, who is Queen Rose, you know? And this is before I was even Queen Rose. I started taking classes and with Gigi Holiday, who is incredible performer, number 11 in the world. She's amazing. I love her. I say she's my burlesque aunties because she actually gave me my name. Okay. And funny enough, to also let you know, this kind of ties into how you and I connected through TikTok. But the reason I even went to see that burlesque show was because I saw a TikTok of a burlesque performer with my body type. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this person has my body. And I sent it to like a few friends, and they were like, if it wasn't for their hair, we would have thought that it was you. And I said, yeah, this is crazy. And it just, something had clicked in that, and then this whole series of events just kind of fired off. And I will say my whole life, I mean, changed completely since I decided to start performing burlesque. And it's helped me with my confidence. It's helped me as a performer. You know, the creativity, it's like it's amazing. And I will also say, as someone that I do have ADHD, and as someone that has ADHD, I will also say there's a lot of us neurodivergent folks in the burlesque and the drag community, and it's great as someone that has ADHD because I'm tapping into so many little skills. Like, it's like, oh, I'm learning how to, you know, stitch a dress or sequin panties, but I'm also coming up with music and choreography and movement and singing if I'm singing, and it's just allowing me to tap into all these creative avenues, and it's just so beautiful. And what a blessing it's been.
That's great. Now, one of the things that you brought up that I'm glad you really went into detail about was about burlesque itself and the different types of shows you saw, because I think there is a very big misconception that burlesque is about basically taking your clothes off until you're naked, which is totally not what it is. And I'm glad that you really brought up that point, because at least in my experience, it's very much about the art, is very much about the sensuality and the sexuality of it, not so much the nudity of it. Because any burlesque I've ever seen, there's been no nudity involved whatsoever. And I'm sure it can happen depending on someone's set, but that's not the point of it. And so I'm very glad that you were very detailed in what you saw and what really burlesque is. But I want to ask you another question about burlesque, and this one's relating to your gender identity. You know, you say it's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a pretty recent development as far as your journey where you've really come to. How has, I guess, two questions. How, if at all, did burlesque help you really in that journey? And how is that expressed through your burlesque?
Yeah, so I think that in regards to like not only my gender identity, but also my sexuality, I was closeted for a really long time, and now looking back at my life, you know, there's always a 2020, hindsight in 2020, and that, you know, that's what it is. But I really was like, oh no, I'm not queer, but I had a girlfriend in high school. I'm not queer or, pansexual, but I, had a crush on this actress or, whatever. And, I also think that a lot of people associate gender identities with really superficial things such as appearance and clothing, and I don't need to assign myself to a specific identity or box, and I think that burlesque has allowed me to push those boundaries, as well as like the communities that I've been in. I do a monthly Rocky horror show, directed and produced by Oliver Her Face, who is a drag performer.
Okay.
And they are, I'm very blessed that they created this space, because I have played magenta, which my hair, makes sense.
I was about to ask who you playing.
It makes sense with my hair, but also I've been the criminologist. I've been, Trixie, which, also makes sense. As a burlesque performer, I do striptease in the beginning, and we rotate. It's a rotating, more or less a rotating cast. But being the crim was like, okay, I'm gonna paint a mustache, and which is so small. It's like a little thing, but also like I could be a woman with a mustache. Like, we don't, we often associate so many superficial things with gender identity. And even if I came out in, full Barbie attire and I wanted to, identify as, non-binary, I mean, that's okay. I think that burlesque and also drag and draglesque, which is, intersectionality between those things, has shown me that you can really be who you want to be on stage. And it is an art. And I've been so blessed to be so inspired by the drag community in Brooklyn. There's a huge drag king and thing community. And if people are, I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but yes, that's a term that was, some people don't know, but for people that don't know, drag thing is a non-binary term for someone that does drag. And then drag king is just someone that dresses in more what we would consider mask attire. But I also know drag kings that wear blonde wigs and, dress like, like I said, like a Barbie or Bratz doll. And I think that that's helped me a lot with doing that. So I'm really, really fortunate. And I think that it's helped me kind of remove that fear of like, if I step out of this box, or if I break this box that I've been put into growing up, in this very, I would say, conservative family, is that mean that I'm not going to be loved? And I think that was a big thing for me. And, I say all that to say that, don't feel the need to like change yourself. I've been in many situations where I've had to shrink myself to fit into those situations. And, doing burlesque and drag and all of that, and tapping into those things has made me feel almost boundless. I'm like, wow, what's next? Like, I just keep growing as a performer, and the people around me are loving all these different versions of me and still embracing these parts of me. And it's just so lovely to be supported in ways that I've never been in my life. I mean, to be honest with you, which has been so lovely. So community is huge. The drag and burlesque community are really lovely and supportive. So I'm very fortunate. We are third layer connected because of that. Just found out. Yes.
It is such a small world. That's actually, in my opinion, a perfect pin to end it, because that is just such a beautiful, wonderful message. I just want to leave it right there, because that's just really something I think everybody should take home. So Queen Rose, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at on TikTok and also Instagram at Queen Rose of Queens. And Queen Rose of Queens is Queens is shortened to QN, like Nancy Z. That's how we, and for people that don't know, that's the AOL names or AIM names back in the day. That's how we used to shorten it. So Queen Rose of Queens and QNZ, and that's on TikTok and Instagram. So please feel free to follow me, and you know, I have a lot of things that I'm going to be working on in regards to burlesque and fashion. So keep a lookout. And I would love to help people learn to love themselves a little bit more in whatever avenue that is.
Sounds great. All her links will be below. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time. And that was my conversation with Queen Rose. I absolutely had a wonderful time talking with her. And another thing I have an absolute wonderful time as well, of course, wearing fragrances. And with autumn firmly entrenched as it's getting colder, the mornings and air are brisk and clean, I tend to gravitate more toward notes that are a bit more robust, a bit more earthy, a bit more, dare I say, decadent. And one of the notes I really love wearing in the fall is tobacco. And these are 3 tobacco fragrances that you can't go wrong with at various price points. The first one is CK1 Shock. Now, this is a tobacco fragrance where you have a whole bunch of notes, including vanilla, lavender, and a bunch of others. So you get some soothing, it's a calmer tobacco, in my opinion. And for 100 mLs, you can find this a lot of times in the rack stores for about $20, which is an absolute steal. You go on Amazon right now, you'll see it in that $35 to $45, sometimes up to $50 range, which still isn't a horrible price. But if you can go to the rack stores, get it and get it from there. Secondly, we have Villain by Pete and Pedro. Now, this is one that I absolutely love. It is an interpretation of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanilla or Vanilla. I never understood how it was pronounced, but I got to look up and get it right one day. It offers a smokiness with that tobacco. It is so prominent. It's a sweetness as well, with I believe it's honey in there as well. It's a smoky, sweet tobacco that is just so potent, and it has great projection and amazing longevity. It lasts all day on my skin, and all day through the night till the next morning, it's still there. It is one that you will definitely get your money's worth. And this is one that's $50 on Pete and Pedro's website for a 50 ml bottle, so $1 ml, which is a great deal, especially for what you're getting in. Plug. Use the notes, the affiliate link below. You get 10% off your first purchase, so check that out as well. Last but not least is one of my favorite tobacco fragrances. It is Signature Tobacco from Zaharoff. Now, this is one I really love, and not so much because of the tobacco, but because of the booziness of it with the cognac and the rum on top, and how it works with that signature Zaharoff DNA as far as frankincense, myrrh, a little bit of oud up in there, and then you got the honey. It is such a sweet and sexy fragrance. And this, for a 60 ml, you're going to find it for, I believe, is $155, which is still a pretty good deal considering the quality of fragrance that you're getting. So those are my 3 recommendations for the fall of tobacco fragrances. You got CK1 Shock, you got Villain by Pete and Pedro, and then you have Signature Tobacco by Zaharoff. So those are my recommendations, and you know what it is. You can find me everywhere across the net. But more importantly, support a brother. We talked about Pete and Pedro. Use the link in the show notes to get 10% off your first purchase. You can also find me on Patreon at the $1, $3, and $5 tiers. You can become a producer of the show and get access to alternative media that is behind that paywall that you won't find here. And then you can also find or support by using W and using the affiliate link below to get an alternative energy drink from there. And of course, don't forget my people over at Basil and Sage. I've been unboxing their boxes for a couple months now. Love their products. You get 10% off your first purchase with the code Sartorial and Geek 10. That's right. Now, of course, you can find me everywhere on the net. You can find me over at Nerds Rule the World twice a week, if not more than that, but at least twice a week, with my man Sean Mongold and the Legend Crew. I'll be talking wrestling at KFAB Baby, the NRW Ring Generals podcast. And of course, this week is this time of year is busy for myself and my man Brian Saff over at the NRW Checkpoint, talking about the latest and greatest in game releases. And there are a whole lot of games coming out, so we're quite out of breath by the time we do a show right now. And of course, you can find me everywhere on social media. Find me on TikTok _Webster Style, Twitter Webster Style, Instagram Webster Style, and Sartorial Geek. Drop me an email, info@WebsterStyleMagazine.com. And of course, anything and everything that is Webster Style can be found at WebsterStyle.com. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your listening ear. Remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
Baby, you see this? Nah, this is. Hold on. I mean, I can change. I thought. Never mind. Forget it. I'm a Jenny, Infinity, Muffin, Finicky when it comes to the killing spree, aka that's an ensemble. Are you the enemy if you're not defending the presence of Millie in the vicinity without a bow tie? Okay, I might have went over the edge. Besides, I really let them close on them legs and thighs. Need to get strong, we can lift them to the sky. The party starts at 12. You got a little time to get it on. And on fact, I'm the type of pussy on. And after that, take a picture with your phone of the outfit. I'm choosing what we own. Now it was Tree Green Tuesday. Had to be Bow Tie Thursday. Had to be. White Wednesday? I know last time. Well, I wore polka dot. You didn't wear. Miss Millie on them heels killing them, but I'm sure it's a Thursday. Bow Tie Thursday. Pasta cream in your heels looking sharp, babe. Acting like you don't know the rules up in the workplace. Must I remind you it was till on your birthday? Don't get me wrong, I think we killed in the birthdays. And you picked the hella fit for the church day. Let's say you picked the wrist game poet. Now you got the floor filled with bras that you purchase. Pick a color scheme that can match the berry corset. Get the berry cream. Berry cream, get the berry cream, we can make a little scene. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. And see what it seems. If it is what it seems. Do it again. Chicks be looking thick leggings, you know what I mean? I don't know. Take a hint though, don't try to get me at a moment. Mint though, smoking hot, rocking this pin so thin. Tie hairline, looking like a stencil. Pimp, no lie, I'm sharper than a utensil. Instrumental, plain dang, homie. I was hoping we could walk out with that bang bang, honey. See them plain James, honey. Them lame frames, funny. We tell it fitted crazy like that thing came on me. Hey, mommy, look a lady, main thing. Want me on the scene, fit popping like a main vein, running blood color lips, smashing with the hand clutch money, holding back. Kinda funny, can you tell me what's the price tag of the Range Rover? Hang on me when we walking, looking Gucci like that thing sprayed on me. Walking with a limp like an ankle sprained on me. Yeah, I rock the cardigan, she don't really want me because one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. No one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Hey, let me see. Let me see. Aim up and on the Millie Malone. Aim up and on the Millie Malone. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Oh, you wanted to? Oh, I completely read that wrong.